So good afternoon everyone, and it's a very lovely afternoon but quite warm, so hydrate yourself, that's good. So before I start, I'll briefly introduce myself. So my name is Siti Nur Baizurah binti Abdul Malik, and I currently associate with Turtle Conservation Society of Malaysia as a researcher. So today I choose a very easygoing and also casual topic for us to discuss, which is understanding the general terms of turtle, tortoise, and also terrapins. So before we start, I think it's a very plain, easy question. What is a turtle? Everyone can answer that, I hope. So a turtle, they are vertebrate which have this distinctive bony shell. So they have this shell, and they are the only animal with shoulder and also hips encompasses inside their rib cage. So contradict to us, we have our legs and hands out, but they are not. They are inside. So their rib cage is actually quite rigid. So some animals, some reptiles, they do their respiration mechanism through moving, expanding, and also contract their rib cage. But for them, no, they have this modification of elongated muscle for them to breathe in and breathe out. And this is actually a very simple fact. Shell is actually a turtle's body. So there are some people that ask me a question like, can the turtle actually move out from the shell and live at the shell? So no, it's actually their body. So their shell, they provide mechanism of protection from predator like biawak and so on, but also they serve as a camouflage, and also it serves as a storage, like fat storage, water storage. So they can use this during harsh environments. And they can feel. So they can feel if you touch them anywhere on the shell, because the shell is made up of bones, keratin. So like your fingernails, when you touch your fingernails, you feel something, right? So it's the same for them. So if there are external pressure or fracture on the shell, they feel the pain. Now, where can we find them? So interestingly, for turtles, for now I'll say turtles, it's easy. So turtles, they can be found in almost all continents, in almost different type of habitats, ecosystems, but generally the highest concentration is around North America and followed suit by Asia. So in Malaysia, we have at least 22 species of turtles, with 18 of them actually non-marine turtles, those that are not in the sea. So sea, we have like four, five, I think in Malaysia visiting around, but 18 of them are in non-marine area. Okay, so global distribution, about 300 species of them, more than half of them actually are threatened. And I think at least 51 of them are on the way to extinction, at least CR. So here in this map, if you see North America, they have like 99 species, and Asia have 95 species. But in area like America and Africa and Asia, over the year, like every year, we have new species discovered. Because in our area, we just established the research, just recently established. So that is why we have like our number of species increasing each year. So why are they actually threatened? So for a couple of reasons, but one of them is because of the loss of habitat, like habitat destruction, and overexploitation for food, for commercial pet trade, for exotic pet trade, for medicines, and so on. And also climate change. So if you are aware, some of the species of turtle, not only marine, but there are some like terrestrial, like what we have, the Asian brown tortoise. So they inhabit like hilly areas, this type of tortoise. So they have this what we call sex-dependent, temperature sex-dependent. So when the temperature is higher, like more than 31 F higher, so the egg will most be likely a female. And then if like lower temperature, it will be mostly likely a male. So some of them, they're going to extinction because of this imbalanced population ratio. Yes. And not so popular, but quite important to be highlight, like disease. So as an example, a species from this species, the Belinga River, so a snapping turtle. So I think over a few years back, about 400 to 800 of them individuals die within the time span of 2 weeks due to the presence of virus. So it's from the family of nidovirus. So if it's not familiar from you, coronavirus is one of the virus under family of nidovirus. So they die from that. So all tortoise and terrapins, we call them turtles. But not all turtles are tortoise and terrapins. So you have to be aware of that. But in our country, it's okay. So we usually interchange this. It's okay. But some countries, some continents, they're quite sensitive with this, and they don't want it to be called turtle. They don't want it to be called tortoise, and so on. So a species that can be found here, Chelonia. So it's a green sea turtle. So turtle, they spend most of their time in the water. So they come up to the land to surface, to breathe, or to lay eggs. So usually they travel like hundreds to thousands, and they have like this reproductive cycle like within 2 or 5 years. Some of them like 1 to 9 years. So they travel up, and then they come back to the tropical climate to lay their eggs. So it can be like range different years, and it's obvious their shell is quite different. It's hydrodynamic because they have to cruise in the water. And they also have these flipper-like legs for them to swim, to help them with swimming. And they have web feet also. And they are not able to retract their head. What does it mean by retract their head? Okay, so some of you might found the common species by the drain. There's like this black turtle. Okay, we can call it turtle, black turtle. And they have like this green stripe on their neck, face. So that type of species, they can shut down completely. You can't see their leg, you can't see their head. So it's totally closed. That's why they call as box. But for that type, the previous one, they cannot do that. And now for tortoise, so most of their time on the land, like forest, hilly. So we have species also in Borneo, but not that one. And their shells are more rounded and dome, lebih tinggi. Tidak macam tadi. And they somehow will use water bodies, but not frequently. It's just for them to clean after themselves or to some water and so on. And also, if you see this, their legs is different. So they have like elephantine-like legs. They can raise up their body, they can lift up their body. So generally on land they are heavier. So that is why they have this modification in order for them to carry themselves around. So they don't really crawl. If you see like turtle, like sea turtle, when they come up to the land, they don't really like walk like this. They crawl, somehow like crawl, right? Okay, now, maybe I should mention this. So as I mentioned, tortoise, some of them, they live like sub-mountain area. So the highest one will be this species. So it's a leopard tortoise in Africa. They're found around like 3,000 meters above sea level. That's quite a very high altitude. So for us here, maybe just around like 300, 500. And then terrapins. So I'm sure you guys quite familiar with this. So terrapin is actually another word for turtle from North American, and they are actually the semi-aquatic or freshwater version of turtle. So like we say turtle, terrapin. So all turtles, some of them are terrapins. Okay, so they are the semi-aquatic one, and you can find them like in swampy area, brackish area, and so on. So there are two types of them, like hard shell and also soft shell. So soft shell we call like labi-labi. And then the hard shell, sometimes you can find them by the stream, like this one, the Malayan flat shell turtle. It's quite flat, that's why Malayan flat. And they have web feet for them to help them with the swimming and hanging around the water. Okay, so in Malaysian context, all of them are present here. And this one is the Manoria emis, the Asian brown tortoise that you can find around the hilly area. And look at the leg. They have all these enlarged scutes. And then this one is like labi-labi. This one present in Peninsular Malaysia, and that one I think maybe here, not sure, Baizurah borneensis. And then that one is the leatherback turtle, yang paling besar, the largest sea turtle. And this one, can you guys guess? So it's a pineal turtle during their juvenile stage. So they like look like pin cushion, you know, like very, very sharp. And then this one is the baby of the Malayan flat shell. Just now I show you. So yang terapin tadi, so dekat atas ada Malayan flat shell kan? This is the juvenile. And then this one is another terapin also. Baizurah finis is present in peninsula of Malaysia. So actually this species and that species, they have like sexual dimorphism, means that female and male are different. And during the mating season also they change color. The male change color to attract the female. Okay, so they are quite interesting and so on. But then the sad news, nearly all of them are threatened in Malaysia. So are they important? So do you guys think turtles are important? I'm pretty sure all animals are important. So even with the turtles, they are quite important. There are quite number of ecological roles or reasons why are they so important to us. But the thing that I want to highlight is this one. So they're actually a very good seed disperser, or we could call them as ecosystem engineer. You know, engineer like building things and changing things. So they are ecosystem engineer. How? Okay, so they are long-lived animal. Meaning that if you have a stable population of this turtle, they actually can help you in restoring ecosystem. Why? Because they feed on the vegetation. Different type of fruit trees. Some of them feed up to 75 plant species. Just one animal, just one individual. So they can feed that much and they move long way. Means that they can travel, bring that seed, travel away from the parent tree, and then once they defecated, so they are like little gardener that we don't pay them, but they are little gardener. They bring the seeds, viable seeds, they plant for us. So, and they are also big eaters, like I mentioned just now. So there are quite a number of research on this, especially I think the most successful one, Galapagos, Aldabra, and in Borneo, we don't have that yet. We know some of them feed on ficus species, and we know ficus species is very important type of tree species. They provide a lot of food, abundance of food for all those wildlife animals, right? So like this, in Borneo, we are starting to work on this, hopefully. And I think that's all. So most of the illustration information gathered from online source, so you might see it's quite familiar and so on, but it's for educational purpose. So I think I will end my talk, and if you have any question or any feedback, you can let me know.
How long do the average turtle, what's the average turtle's lifespan, and also what's the longest turtle's lifespan?
Okay, so the longest that so far recorded is 150 years. But there are more than that actually. 150 years is the standard for species like Aldabra. If you go back and you can Google, or you can Google it now, Aldabra and also Galapagos. So these two type of turtle, they live in the island. So they live in the island. They're quite big, very big species. And yeah, that's the average lifespan. But for us in Borneo, nobody have actually measured, but we estimate it should be around 30 to 40 years if they don't encounter any poach, hopefully, yes.
Poaching of tortoises or for eggs for the turtles, but what else? Why else are they poached?
Okay, so some of them poach for meat, like the box turtle that we found by the drain, so on. So some of them, like actually, Kota Kinabalu and Kuala Lumpur is one of the international hub for wildlife trafficking. So they gather all the unknown, where did they get, I don't know. So some of them from our country and some of them from neighboring country. So they gather here in Kota Kinabalu or Kuala Lumpur International Hub, and then they bring it to China, they bring it to Taiwan, they bring it to Europe, some of them to Europe. So the beautiful one, like this one, most likely will end up in exotic pet trade. So they sell it, and not so beautiful, but look meaty, maybe sell for food, yes. And some of them for TCM, so a lot of pressure from poachers too.
I just personally have not heard about turtles being endangered, because I think there's a lot of focus on the larger species, orangutan,
Yeah.
right? So, and pangolins are, we hear a lot about that. But
Yes, so you might be surprised actually. So turtle is actually one of the endangered group in animal. So just like I mentioned just now, so in the world we have like 300 species. More than half of them considered as threatened. Threatened as in vulnerable, endangered, threatened according to IUCN. And more than about like 160 or 51 of them like CR, critically endangered, going to extinction. So they're actually in trouble, but nobody is aware. Yes.
Actually, in Sabah, Brunei, Sarawak, orangutans, yes, we always hear about them, but many people are keeping kura-kura or labi-labi as pets.
At
People
home.
eating turtle eggs and eating them also.
The species that mentioned by Chavez, like all the common one, actually endangered, considered endangered as in IUCN because their number is going down.
And that's why we have this special program. So some of the students, when they do the social media program, they'll make posters about don't keep labi-labi as a pet or turtle. That's one of the objectives.
And also like the common stuff, like some people actually keep them as pet, but they are not aware of the species actually. So most of them they will keep it in like baldi besar macam tu and put in the water all the time, feed them kangkung only. So not all species actually feed on turtle. Some of them actually feed on animal matter. Like they are actually a scavenger. Like Hyoscines spinosa, the spiny one just now, they've been recorded eating like macaque, the carcass of macaque. Yes, so they are scavenger. They are omnivore.
And the labi-labi will eat fish.
They are hunting for fish. So turtle don't eat kangkung only. Yeah.
So, thank you so much, Baizurah, for your talk.
Okay. Welcome.